Welcome back, El Paso, to another episode of Beyond the Stage El Paso, where we get together with local artists. We hear their stories and we hear their music. I'm here today with two beautiful, lovely ladies, Juju and Cindy Lou, who flutes. That's a mouthful. And they're here to talk about themselves, their group. Their name is Juicy something, but I'm going to let them take it because I don't want to mess it up. But with that introduction over, I turn the floor to you guys. Welcome to Beyond the Stage, and, the floor is yours.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having us here. I appreciate you inviting us. It's a Juicy Jazz Duo. Why the Juicy? It's because it's Juju and then Cindy put together, and then we came up with Juicy. Jazz, yeah.
I don't know why I was struggling with that. That you said, I was like, Juicy Jazz Duo. That makes sense to me, but I was just messing that all up. I was just gonna fuck it up the whole night. I'm sorry. This isn't for kids.
I was waiting to laugh at you.
It's okay. It's okay. You laughing is fine.
Okay,
My
cool.
feelings are already hurt.
Okay.
So one thing I want the audience to know is Cindy here is very talkative. So if she's taking the show the whole time, that's why. So
I'm gonna have to ask her to stop sometimes.
Yeah. So if we ask Cindy to shut up, it's not because we're being mean. It's just because she loves to talk, and
she loves the camera too.
Yeah, she does. So you're gonna notice that the whole time. So, putting the spotlight on Cindy here. So here we go. But
Okay.
I am interested. You guys have very bright personalities. We've spent a little bit of time together, and you guys are very, very big personalities here. How did you guys meet? And was it, friendship at first sight?
Well, it was a long time ago, actually. It was karaoke, right?
I think so.
A long time ago.
Or you knew my roommate.
Pam.
Yeah.
Pam was her roommate, and she was my roommate at one point. And she invited me out to karaoke, and she was there, and we're like, hey. And she's like, hey. And we're like, hey. And we're like, hey. And there you go. The friendship started.
just a bunch of haze.
Hey,
there we go. Oh my
A
god.
couple of holes in there too, maybe. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Well, the funny thing. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the story, the true story that connected us, Cindy, if you remember. There was a stalker guy, right? And he was stalking Pam, her roommate. And he was crazy. Like, he kept on calling her phone and putting porn pictures and porn videos. And then for some reason he got my phone number, and he started doing that to me all night. And then he started doing that to her. So we got together that night, and we started talking about this one stalker guy, right? And we're like, no, you too. And we're like, yes, you too. And we're like, no, dude. So yeah, then we started talking about it, and then we tried to figure out who it was, and we found out. And then we're a bunch of girls and a bunch of drama, and it went down.
Bonded through a stalker.
Yep, that's
All
one
through a
way.
stalker.
I think that's better than hey. Stalker friendship seems a little bit stronger.
It was crazy. It was a crazy experience, but we got through it, and we became friends.
That's good.
The music, obviously. She's you were playing the saxophone too, no?
I play a little bit of everything. I'm a music teacher, so certified for all levels, by the way. And yes, Juju needed wanted a flutist, and I went and I played some flute with her and Juju and all that jazz. And then we found our inner
connection, friendship,
soul sisterhood,
dorkiness, craziness. Yeah.
So your primary instrument is flute.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start playing flute? Why did you start playing flute?
Born and raised in Chuco. I started in 6th grade, and I was supposed to play the baritone. The band director then said that's what I was supposed to play, but my whole life I knew all I wanted to play was flute. So the next day I showed up. That day when I went home, I said, Dad, I want to play flute. And that's what we went to get without even letting him know that I wasn't supposed to play that. When I showed up to band the next day with an actual flute, then that was it. And it was just meant to be.
Wow. So you were like, band director, I know what you said, but I know better, and I'm going to do what I want. And
there you go.
Yeah.
So, Juju, do you play instruments? I know you're here as a
hell
vocalist
no.
today, but...
I cannot play not one instrument to save my life or soul.
Man, I wish I could remember who said it, but somebody said that your voice is actually the most proficient instrument. It's like the
That
first
is
instrument
my
you know.
instrument, yes.
Yeah.
So
Well, the microphone.
that's fair.
There it is.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I can't sing very well. I'm great when no one's around because I'm my own audience. So I'm like, yeah, I killed that shit. But for the most part, I can't. I'm not a singer. That's why I play drums and
Nice.
do other stuff. But yeah, that's cool. So when I was in college, I loved the flute. It was by far my most favorite thing. And I remember my winds teacher was like, "Flute's gonna be the hardest thing you learn how to play," and I was like, "Wow, great! I'm already looking forward to this," because I was pretty awful at clarinet, and I hate clarinet. And then they give us a flute, and I'm like, great, now something that's harder than that, because I couldn't break the register. Like, I couldn't play high notes to save my life. It was the worst. And then they give me a flute, and I was like, woo! I was like, whoa, I'm so good at this.
Really?
I was like, maybe
Nice.
I should be a flute player, but I just couldn't do it. I love playing drums.
They
So-
say the flute is the instrument most like the voice, and Bob Marley played the flute, to a little known fact, and he used
Wow.
to say he used to like to play it because he used to like to get high because you know how if you've played flute, then you've probably gotten dizzy at a time or another, and he actually liked that part about playing flute. So, little known fact.
I played the flute. I actually picked it up, and my mom bought me one, and I took lessons, but no, didn't happen. Not at all.
So when did you start singing? When did you realize that was what your instrument was?
Well, my parents are pastors of a church called Iglesia Puerta del Cielo, and I was born into the ministry. So my mom was the singer of the church choir, right? And I just remember singing in the car, my mom singing, and I started singing Christmas carols. And my dad put me up to sing some Christmas carol, and I sang. I was 3, and my mom's like, okay, let's get her to sing some pistas, some backtracks, right? And at 5 I started performing all around El Paso with different churches, and there it is. And yeah, it was a bunch of gospel or Spanish Christian music. So
what brought you to the world of jazz that you'll be performing today?
interesting story. My parents didn't let me hear any kind of music other than Christian or jazz. I mean, they let me hear jazz, Christian music, and classical music. So I leaned into jazz, and I just fell in love with jazz. And the cartoons back in the day had jazz music, so there it is.
Do you remember like the first jazz album or like some of the first jazz records that you were listening to that kind
Not
of brought you in?
records. It's Lady and the Tramp, Peggy Lee. Oh, Peggy Lee. She's a tramp, and you know it. And all that music, it was just like, her voice, that music, I love it. So yeah, I think it was Peggy Lee who was my first idol when it came to jazz. And actually, the first song I ever sang was Fever by Peggy Lee. Yeah.
I've actually, so we meet everybody here for the first time. You being the exception, we have met in the past.
Yes.
And you actually performed that song with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can, hearing that it's one of
I
your
love
favorites,
that.
it makes
Love
sense as
that
to,
song,
the performance. And Cindy, so I'm not sure what your background is, but you did say you were a teacher and an educator. Why? I tried it for a little bit and it just wasn't for me. I was more of a performer than I was an educator.
Along with knowing that I was going to be a flute player, I just naturally felt teaching was kind of my thing, my niche, and it came real natural to me. So, that's what I studied in college at UTEP here, and I got my bachelor's in it, and then been teaching a little bit all over El Paso. Done years in Fabens and Socorro District, in Isleta District. at my own alma mater, which is Bel Air High School. Go Big Red. And go UTEP as well, because I went back for my master's. Only one class away from that, so that's kind of neat.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And then it took me a while to get the actual, because I am quite of a shy one, if it isn't noticeable already. But little by little, I've had very talented friends like Juju, also my very talented friend Selena Nevarez. I can credit her for getting me into the band world.
She's gorgeous.
And performing with her in her reggae band. And I was in a band called Chuco Soul Project for a little while. We had our time. We did really good things. We won a battle of the bands at Lowbrow. I was able to record at Sonic Ranch.
Nice.
We performed Music Under the Stars when it was still up and running. We did Canyon, Music in the Canyon, and just a bunch of beautiful, beautiful performances around El Paso. So this really cemented my love of music as far as being able to play what styles I'm most familiar with. I love reggae, but I also love jazz, and I love Spanish music. I love cumbias. So I'm kind of really eclectic in my mix, and that makes it a lot of fun to be able to perform and venture out with other musical friends and perform different styles. I'm always looking to do something different and to perform with different people. So, yeah.
That's interesting. So you and Juju are very different when it comes to your personalities. I know Juju's, just her crazy red hair. She's got this big personality. Do you think you tend to gravitate to people that are very opposite of your personality because it brings out more in your musicianship? Or do you just, you met Juju, you're like, we're really good friends, it's like, let's play together, and you realize hey, we're just a really good mix?
Yeah, it's kind of once I feel comfortable with somebody, then my inner dork comes out.
Yes, ma'am.
It's quite natural to see.
Yes, ma'am.
And so with Juju, I found that it was actually really easy to be myself and kind of let my guard down. And then in turn, she also let her guard down, and she can be quite a silly one as well. And that's been a lot of fun to be a part of and witness.
That's cool. So, so jazz flute, is that something you initially thought of having as a vocalist that you would like to have accompany you? Is that just something you guys one day came together and decided to start playing? Because you guys were friends, but I've got friends that I just won't play with.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, hey man, we're homies, but I don't want to play. So what really brought you guys to create Juju?
I think Juju's just really smart. She sees opportunities, and she's a go-getter. And it's something that not a lot of people are picking up on too much around El Paso right now. And flute is actually a really beautiful instrument, and it goes well either by itself or with voice or with other instruments. And I think she just kind of saw that there was a place for it. And with her voice, which her voice is not, it's not necessarily what I consider my voice to be, which is a Disney princess voice, very soprano, very, sweet and pretty. She has a lot of sultriness in her voice, and a lot of that I think complements the flute, which can be more, on that high end. So I think she saw that, and she grabbed it, and she grabbed me, and it's been great ever since, being able to perform with her and go on these adventures.
Yeah, I actually pushed her to play jazz with me actually in Coco Bar 2019, remember? Mm-hmm. And then Manny Lozano would push us to do other gigs together, and we were just we could do this. We could do this. And I would invite her to come perform with me at Coco Bar every Tuesday. And I'm like,
it took me a long time to get up there to get funny. But, you don't know unless you get in the hot seat, right? And when it comes to improv and jazz, and there's no other way to learn but to just get up there and do it. And it was the hardest thing for me to just start. So having someone like Juju push me to get up there and just do it and just go. In the beginning, it was a little bit rough, but every week or every time I tried, it got better and better. And we're at the point now where I'm feeling pretty comfortable that I can, hang with any group when it comes to improv and jazz.
Cool. So you kind of said something, and I'm curious to hear both worlds, because you come from a very scholastic musical background, and you come from a very internal feeling. So one of the questions I like to ask all the guests is what advice you would give to beginning musicians, whether that be in age or, you know, just they retired and they're picking up instruments. And I'm very curious to hear both of your sides, being that you come, like I said, you come from a very scholastic, you know, this is how we're going to do things. It's like broken down, but you kind of like, you're winging it sometimes, and you're like, oh, hey, that works. And, you know, when do you know like something's working, or how do you kind of work through those barriers, kind of doing it on your own, especially starting out?
With a lot of tears, heartaches, banging your head against the wall. But I didn't give up, did not give up. Actually, my brother, he was a jazz piano player here in El Paso. Now he's in a country band called Frank Ray, and he's touring all over the U.S. Right now he's in Canada. And he would always be playing the piano, and I would see him, and I'm like, I could do that. And I told him, hey, can I sing with you? And he's all like, over my dead body, I will ever let you sing with me. I was just like, oh, you asshole. Well, fine, I'll do it on my own. So I started hiring just people to come and do to accompany with me, to just be my company, you know, like my guitar player. And I would pay them all of the money, and I would just stay with the tips. And you know, because I don't have that background, you know, of going to school, going to college, or even vocal classes. I just knew I had it in me, and I had to prove it. And I had to prove it for a couple of years until I asked my brother, I'll give you $200 to perform with me. 2 hours. Come on, please. He's all right, I need the money. So we go and perform, and when we're done, he's putting his piano back in the trunk, and he's like, my real name is Damaris. He's like, okay, Damaris, I'm going to tell you this one time and one time only. You impressed me. And I'm like, oh, say it again. He's all like, no. Well, come on. He's all, nope. All right, cool. So then after that, then he started encouraging me. And that's why I encourage a lot of other artists that want to start gigging. And I tell them, yeah, you could do it. You know, practice, and you could do it. And get yourself out there. You're going to fail. You're going to feel like shit sometimes. Things are not going to work out at first. But if you keep on going, you're going to get there. And just keep on learning.
Man, that's good. That's like real good advice. I know, even as a trained musician that I am, I face struggles, and sometimes I feel like I come from the world of feeling, because I didn't read very well, music-wise. I guess my friends will say I don't read very well, English-wise either, but
me too.
So yeah, so I feel a lot, and you know, I play drums, so a lot of what I do is, you know, feeling grooves and feeling different artists. So there's times where it's frustrating because you can't figure something out, or you know. So it's a lot of heartache. So I feel that on a very personal level, but I think the great musicians are the ones that can push past that. That don't quit at the first sign of like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not very good at it. Like, you know, I own so many instruments that I don't know how to play because it's like, I'm going to learn how to play this one day. Maybe not today. I'm not going to figure it out today, but I'm going to learn how to play it.
It's like me with that dress, that skinny little dress. I'm going to be skinny one of these days. I'm going to fit into that dress. Watch me. Watch me.
And you will.
And I will. I'm not there yet, but I will.
And on that same note, I think that's why it's important that we have, you know, mentors and people in our corner that we can go to for advice, go to for help, go to for encouragement and motivation. And so it's always nice to have people like that, you know, that you can count on and look to for help.
Was there any, as a, you know, I don't want to say an educated, because that sounds so rude, but like as a scholastic musician, is there any struggles that you kind of saw, within just the programs themselves, something that you saw that might have been hindering you?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I've always had this dream of opening or having my own school of music, but I've always imagined and envisioned it to be a non-traditional school of music that would be very much geared and centered towards the individual. So things like basics and having to learn music theory or classical music history or things of that nature, which, I mean, in all honesty, ask me how many times I've ever had to use like augmented sixth chords information in any of either my teaching or performance. I can't really tell you I have it all. But I've always wanted to know who I could go to for help on learning how to sing, maybe in a punk style, or how to play drums in a reggae style, and so in my mind I thought, it would be so cool to have this school of music where people could go to learn what it is they want to learn, and then the schedules would be very much on their own. The teachers would be friends of mine and people that have been doing it for many years already and can, bona fide trained musicians that know what they're doing and connected with students that wanted to learn that same thing. So who knows? Maybe it sounds interesting because I feel like Creator really does bring people together that are meant to be together. And with Juju, like, she's really helped bring out a lot of my inner hustler, my inner go-getter. And so I don't know, I'm starting to wonder, maybe there's a place for this, like, this kind of like future business kind of idea.
I'm always looking for new endeavors.
Huh.
So you never know.
Yeah. So you guys clearly have a great friendship, and I'm sure it's gonna come out in the music that you guys play. You guys are performing 2 songs tonight. You're performing "Fly Me to the Moon" and what's the other track?
Love Song.
Love Song. And Love Song. What's Love Song? Is it a little bit more untraditional? I'm not familiar with Love Song.
Well, the original, we sing the cover from Adele, but
it's by The Cure.
The Cure, they sing it.
Oh, okay. Adele, is this? So she covered a song, and you're covering her cover.
Yes.
When did Adele cover this song?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just I
like early 2000s.
Really?
Came across it and I'm like, oh, I love this song. I love it.
What is it about?
Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am young again. You make me feel like I'm free again. You make me feel like I'm clean again. And me as an artist, I have my demons that I have to fight every day. And I really do relate to that song. That loved one that helps me, just be at home, be whole. And however far he's at, however far he stays or however long or whatever, I'm still gonna be here because you showed me that love. Yeah.
And Cindy, I'm curious, primarily because I don't play melodic instrument. I guess I don't directly play a melodic instrument. In a tune like "Fly Me to the Moon" that's so lyrical, especially with a vocalist, how do you approach playing something like that? If we have like a young flautist that wants to get into playing jazz, what is kind of your thought process behind that, and how to accompany them and not kind of overshadow them?
Right. Well, and that's it. Really, it's a good question to ask too, because as a instrument that is a lot like the voice, and a lot of the music that I perform in my own solo performances, I do instrumental covers of a lot of vocal tracks. So when I perform with a vocalist, it's important for me to know how to be co-vocalist, I guess I could say, being a accompanist in a way, although not really, because it is still a melodic instrument. So things like helping her in fills and at the ends of phrases, and knowing when to come in, giving pitch notes so that she knows what her note is to come in on. Things like that are what I'm thinking more of, and then not so much playing the actual melody of the song, because obviously the vocalist is going to handle that, but then maybe playing a harmony to it, or just like a second part that could go with it, as well as the solos
also, helping with the melody if I get lost.
Oh yeah.
That's an important too.
Yeah.
So it's just as important for you to know what the melody is, but what not the melody is.
Kind of got to be able to play
Yeah.
interchangeably.
Yeah.
Go melody and back up.
Be able to jump from like counterpoint
Yeah.
to melody and just do it seamlessly.
Yeah.
To make it seem like if you did mess up, that you didn't mess up. That it was just kind of an exchange.
She got me.
That's
Exactly.
cool. So you're just as important without being the main focus. Because if it's kind of one of those things where if you take that out of the mix, it feels like there's a performance, but it also feels like there's something missing.
Yes.
That's crazy. I tell you, I do boom bams, like that's my thing. It's like, how do I support this with a groove and just sit back, and then it's like, oh, my time to shine for a second, and then I sit back, But my job is very supportive, and it sounds like you play a supportive role, but you play just as much of a leading role. So
it can be tricky because of the fact that I don't play like guitar or piano, and I do have to use backing tracks oftentimes. And because of that, I feel that I have to bring it more with my flute playing in order to show that it's not just glorified karaoke. What we're doing here, like I am adding to the track, I am adding to the lyrics, the melody, the accompaniment. And so in that way, trying to, bring it.
Wow. That's interesting. Well, I'm really excited about hearing you guys perform. I'm sure the guests are really excited to hear you guys perform. So I don't want to delay that anymore. I just want to, get ready and hear you guys, perform these tunes. A special event is going to happen with Juju. She does have another group. It's Juju and All That Jazz.
Yes, sir.
Right? Juju and All That Jazz. That's way more words than Juicy Jazz Duo, but I can't say that one for some reason. But stay tuned because we are going to have a special performance from Juicy and All That Jazz at a later moment, at a later time. So don't miss out on that. So make sure you're following the page. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss that. But without further ado, ladies, let's get your performance ready. You ready?
Real quick, shout out to Pops and shout out to Footprints. Manny Lozano, you rock. Love you. Mom, Dad, I love you. Wow.
Manny Lozano, you rock, but let's get you on the pod. What do you say?
Oh, he's next.
Yeah, we're calling you out, Manny. We're calling you
Manny.
out. Let's go. So before we do go, where can our audience find you guys? Are you guys on social media? Or you guys have something?
Ooh, not yet. This is gonna be our first actual video. That kind of like a demo.
Okay.
You're helping us out. Thank you very much.
But we do each have our social media.
Yes,
so you
we
can
do.
find Juju Aguirre, right?
Juju Aguirre. Juju Land Aguirre.
Juju Land, there it is.
Okay.
And
Hold on, Cindy,
Yeah,
because
you already know that
I've
one's a
got a
mouthful.
white population here. I know I do. Can you spell that out for them? For the ones that don't know how to spell out Aguirre,
Okay, it's Juju, Juju, Land, Land, Aguirre, Aguirre. And that's on Facebook and on Instagram.
Okay. And then Cindy?
I just go by Cindy Luhu from Dr. Seuss. Last name Flutes. So Cindy Luhu Flutes. Quite easy there on Facebook. And actually, for some reason, it's different on Instagram because I guess that came way before the Cindy Luhu Flutes. On Instagram, I'm Cindy Lou Burning. No G on that, just Cindy Lou Burnin'.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, find these ladies, give them an ad on social media, and reach out to them if after this performance you're like, I gotta have more of it, and you want to book. Reach out to them, and I'm sure they're gonna be there with bells on.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
All right. Well, let's not delay this anymore. Let's get you guys performing. What do you say?
Before we end, I just want to say thank you so much for having us
Yes,
out
sir.
here and for doing this and spending your time recording us and doing this wonderful thing. It's a really great thing that you're doing for the city, I'm sure, and I
Yes.
do hope that people get on board with what you're trying to do because it's nothing but good things. So props to you and thank you so much.
Y'all
Thank
take
you.
advantage. Come
Thank
on
you.
now.
I really appreciate it. And yeah, take advantage. We're here for you guys.
Yes.
Fine.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Fly me to the moon and let me play the stars. Let me see what spring is like, oh, on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. Ooh, in other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. Oh, in other words, please be true. Oh, in other words, darling, kiss me. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like, oh, on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. Whoa, in other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. Oh, in other words, please be true. Oh, in other words, ooh, baby, in other words. Whoa, darling, in other words, I love you. I flew you to the moon. Now, I'm gonna give you a little bit of loving. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am fun again. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am young again. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am whole again. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am whole again. However far away, I will always love you. However long you stay, I will always love you. Whatever words I say, I will always love you. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am free again. Whenever I'm alone with you make me feel like I am clean again. However far away, I will always love you. However long you stay, I will always love you. Whatever words I say, I will always love you. I will always love you. However far away, I will always love you. However long you stay, I will always love you. Whatever words I say, I'll always love you. Oh, I will always love you. I will always love you. I will always